This is the Power of OZmosis podcast, powered by the Vidwheel Creator Network. Hi everyone, this is the Power of OZmosis video podcast, powered by Vidwheel Creator Network. I am John Osberg, and today I am so juiced to welcome one of my all-time best friends at the place we met here in Dig Buffalo at the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. And that, of course, is Mr. Steve Coulton of OnCore Golf. Welcome, brother.
Mr. Osberg, thanks for having me on your show. Appreciate it.
When you said that, you reminded me of the Matrix agent who says, Mr. Anderson. But seriously, it's a Friday. It's a beautiful day. There's a lot of great community things happening, much of which you are at the helm, Steve. And I know I like to try to kind of collaborate, if you will, with a lot of the things that you're doing, both OnCore related and then just you as a person. So today, our millions of listeners and watchers, law of attraction as always, we will be talking about all things community, all things entrepreneurship, passion, but really with an emphasis on how you can accelerate your growth, how you can accelerate your reach. And it's pretty simple, and I'm not going to put it out right now, but we're going to get into it. We'll trace back some of how Steve and I know one another and his origin story, of course, as a person, but then also as a business owner. So Steve, my brother, I'm done talking. The floor is yours.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. I know we're going to cover a lot today, and we've gotten to, over the last few months, play a lot of golf, run a marathon together, connect through business relationships, through the community. So yeah, appreciate you having me on, and excited to conduct our interview today.
Well, I appreciate you appreciating me, brother. And I was just ruminating. I know I gave you the floor, but I want to just say this. It was the summer of 2016. I was still at my first ever job. Not that this matters, but it's important for the narrative. I remember reaching out to you. Big golfer, as you had alluded to. We're golfers. I don't think we played as much though as I think we'd like, because we got a lot going on.
Play every day if we could. Right?
Yeah. One day maybe. But that said, I reached out to you. I don't know what it was. Something prompted me, and at the time I was, helping run a software development company, and I reached out and was really surprised to be able to reach you, and then really surprised at just how kind and open you were with the conversation, and kind of I pretty much straight up said, like, hey Steve, man, I'm VP of sales at a tech company, man, and I'm just a diehard golfer, and I love what you're doing. I love your products. You're here in our backyard, and I'll let you pick up from there.
And I think it was right around the time we were OnCore, my business that I co-founded with Brett Blakely, were sponsoring a web.com event at Peak and Peak. It's now called the Corn Ferry Tour. And so we had some tickets as part of that corporate sponsorship, and I extended some to you. You jumped at the opportunity, and we just kind of connected through golf, through OnCore. And I remember you kind of reminded me years later, you're like, do you remember, like, it was a cold call, and like you gave me these tickets to the golf tournament. But yeah, I think demonstrates your ability to connect with people. You've always excelled at that.
Thank you.
And the importance of just reaching out. And it's something you and I, have both been in sales, in our backgrounds. So, it can be awkward at times, and it's easy to just go about your day to day. But sometimes you got to get uncomfortable and just make the call, or go visit someone and just have that ask, right? What's the worst that can happen, right?
No, which is fine.
Yeah, exactly.
You should be hungry for the no, because it then saves you time to then move on to the next.
Yep.
So, well, and to piggyback quickly, it was surreal, and to have the access, to have your kindness extended, and we'll quit the back massaging, because there is a message here, and Steve, you just kind of hit on it. It is that, feel the fear sometimes and do it anyway. And in the cold call, there's fear. It's like awkward. Now, free of cold calls, anything. It doesn't have to be sales, business, anything in life. It's the power of that question.
Yeah.
It's the power of the opportunity to connect.
And I think, I love seeing your content on LinkedIn, tying in golf with entrepreneurship, and Bubba Watson, came out during the U.S. Open, basically saying he was literally scared over every shot. Wow. And here's a player that's playing at the highest levels and admits that, right? And it's like we all, have that fear, but whether it's starting your own business, OZmosis, OnCore, but it's you got to fight through it, and you end up being rewarded for facing your fears, and you grow personally, and but it's not always easy to do, right?
Never. And speaking of personally, I got excited. I circumvented it a little bit for the audience, for all of our watchers and listeners. More about you, as a professional person, and then obviously OnCore.
Sure.
Please.
From Long Island, so I grew up, golfing, working at a golf course, cutting greens, picking the range. So always been around the sport of golf. And my father was an entrepreneur. He had a business in New York City. I went to school at NYU, played on the golf team there. And for the last 11 years, I've been living in Buffalo. So I'm a transplant, blow-in. But it's been really cool to be in the city and to see, all the construction and the development and the startup scene. And I think we had a bit of a pause with COVID, and but that was that was worldwide, right? So now things are finally starting to pick back up. We're meeting in person. We're getting out in the community. So it was an interesting period. I know we both kind of pivoted to doing a lot of these podcasts. And,
yeah, you're killing it.
Things from our apartments. Thank you.
Check that out.
And
what do you call it? I'm sorry.
Just the OnCore podcast.
Yeah, cool. We'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great to be here with you and to have developed the friendship and the business relationship over the years, and see the growth in Buffalo, and finally start to get back out and see people and just enjoy life.
Yeah, brother. Well, and speaking of growth, to kind of take that out, extract that. We talked about that at the beginning here just minutes ago. I had said, we're going to talk about things that are going to arm our audience on how to accelerate their growth, their reach. And so again, it goes back to the power of a question, or just extending an olive branch like I did with you, and like you've done.
Right.
Oh my God, with countless. Before we started here, you mentioned Eric Compton, one of the pros that plays the ball on the PGA Tour, played the USO, or no, sorry, it wasn't him. It was Andy Pope that played in the USO.
Yep.
But then, you got the Vero, which is sitting here in front of us. I had it in the car. We both decided, let's do an impromptu, have a little something there. I'll be playing these later, like you mentioned, tee it up later. Yep. I plan to break your butt using your golf balls. No, I'm kidding. We're going to have a great match. But back to the point. And the point was, here you are, Steve. Like you're talking to Chuck Schwab, Charles Schwab himself, the $8 billion man, Valentino Dixon. Shout out to my brother, our brother, I got goosebumps, here in Buffalo, exoneree of 27 years, world-renowned artist, Chuck Schwab, Eric Compton, Andy Pope, Valentino Dixon, George Chisler?
George Schimmel. Yep.
George Schimmel, sorry.
Yep.
All these people that most of those people our audience will know or know of. And so how did you do it?
Well, it's not just me. I mean, I've got a team. I've got,
of course,
Chairman Keith Blakely, serial entrepreneur. And I think we've built a great company, a great suite of products. And, you mentioned law of attraction, right? You put these golf balls out into the marketplace, and you build a team, and you build ambassadors, and a lot of it happens organically. Chuck Schwab, who's one of our largest investors and really supported the company through some hard times, he learned of OnCore through Al Geiberger, and Al's known on tour as Mr. 59.
That's right.
And it's you'd never know that a relationship with Al Geiberger could lead to Charles Schwab trying your golf ball and eventually investing in your company. And it's just, sometimes you can't connect the dots, but with your networking and growing your the people you surround yourself with. You just, sometimes you never know where things can go, but you just gotta take action and make things happen.
A leap of faith too.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. We talk about the beginning, the fear that you might feel in starting a business.
Yeah.
Root your mission, root the outreach with humanity. What does that mean? Chuck Schwab puts his pants on the same way as you do.
Yep.
Same way as I do, same as we all do. Sure, he's got some pretty, he's got a lot of commas behind his name, but he's a person. So when you approach it at that human to human, this is something I like to use, and I know, Steve, you do it, man, with the way you connect me to people and vice versa. A lot of times you'll have that, because right now, what are we living in, Steve? It's an attention economy. Texts, emails, social media pings, the list goes on, the TV, the billboards. I don't know how people even do it anymore. But when you approach a conversation, and shout out again to Valentino, when you connected us, I mean, dude, a life-changing conversation. Truly, like, this man is one of one. Like, we all are, but like, put a bunch of asterisks there. I'll never forget, he asked me, Valentino, man, you got to think this way. 27 years in prison, wrongfully accused, he's friends with the Obamas. He just led with a respectful inquiry, and he said, John, what are we here to talk about today? And I loved it, because I was able to then respond by saying, Valentino, man, I'm so inspired by you, your story, what you've done, who you are, what you're doing. This is a human-to-human conversation. I have no agenda. I want to get to know you as a person, and whatever happens from there happens. Whether it's nothing or everything or anything in between, I'm in. What do you got to add to that?
I think it's, you're building relationships, right? There's no expectation that this person's going to do something, they're going to help you. But if you genuinely are curious, right, and you're interested in their story and helping them, kind of the power of karma, right? Build up your karma, right? Do things, don't expect anything in return. And it's tough sometimes because, I think human nature, sometimes we expect, if we do something, we expect something in return. But I think a lot of times we're in a position where we don't necessarily need anything, but you're in a position where you can help others. So if you are in that position, you help others, you never know. Sometime you might be down on your, out of luck. You might be out of a job, or you might need to lean on, a friend that you've helped out for a connection, for a sale, for an interview, whatever. But if you've built up that bank of karma, then they'll want to help you, because they'll say, hey, when I needed a donation, or when I needed a connection, John, Steve, whoever helped me out, people remember that. And I think, we both try to do that, where we don't know when we'll need help, but if we keep doing good and keep helping others, we have, there's the confidence that, they'll help us out if we need it, right?
Let's say that again for everyone to hear. A bank of karma.
Bank of karma.
People, I think, I don't want to generalize, but sometimes, and I'm included in those acute, fleeting moments of worrying about my actual bank account, my dollars, right?
Sure.
Like, oh man, what do I got?
Yeah.
I got to make sure I got enough to make payments, whatever.
Yeah.
But what are you doing, audience, to think about your karma bank, your bank of karma, your bank of goodwill, goodness? So thank you for that, because that's probably going to be how I'll probably title it. How to build your bank of karma, featuring Steve Coulton on OnCore Golf. Let's go.
I like it.
Yeah, man, that's a gold nugget. So I'm going to get a little later here. It's congruent to what you just said, Steve. OnCore is here in Buffalo, and it's a tech-focused company, product-focused company that is in the community, that does well by the community. It's congruent to what you just talked about on your personal level, and then that bleeds into your professional level. I got one in mind, because then I'm going to layer it. But I wanted to ask you, so PGA Hope, part of PGA Reach. PGA Hope is HOPE, helping our Patriots everywhere. So it's part of the West New York PGA, which is the PGA of America for Golfers Association, right? That is focused on supporting our military veterans through the game of golf. Because the game of golf, as you had earlier said, content that has golf and life and entrepreneurship, golf is one of our ultimate teachers. So I'd love for you to just briefly share what it was that you did and are continuing to do for PGA Hope with your golf balls.
Well,
It's fantastic.
So the introduction through our mutual friend Steve, working with the section, working with Steve Barkowski, Western New York PGA, and another mutual friend Nick Martone.
Remiss not to mention Nicky. Let's go.
Marine vet, and who's the head ambassador. Just coming back to building relationships. We connected with Nick. We connected with Steve. I had Nick on our podcast, right? Share his story, Team Fast, and all the work he does for helping out veterans. So I think when you connect with someone, you're more empowered to want to help their cause, right? 100%. I haven't served, but being friends with Nick, knowing what he's gone through, and knowing what he's trying to do to help others, made me want to try to help too, right? Because of that relationship and that connection, and just understanding that there's some pretty grim statistics, in terms of the veterans.
22 a day, brother.
Yeah, it's awful. But Nick, he's just a ray of sunshine, and so yeah, we one of the things John and I did together was raise some money, for this marathon.
And Nick and Steve and several others.
Yeah. So just trying to give back through, through OnCore, through golf, and there's we've done some things in the past with some custom flag balls.
That's right.
And donated that. Portions of sales from the sale of the flag ball.
Might I add a hefty portion? I mean, very generous. And I'm going to say that on your behalf. You would never, as a humble human, but I remember you telling me the number. We're going to have to say it here. I mean, we'll probably do another campaign maybe one day with the flag ball on this ball here. But I mean, it's like it's a proportion of the sales that not many companies are doing.
Yeah, and
so kudos. That's all.
And it's really that's our customers too, right? So they're ultimately moved by the cause and enjoy the product, and it's an easy thing for a company to do, to give back.
That's right.
And build it into your model, and but it's like a little it's a little bit, but it can add up over time, right? And it seems kind of insignificant and any one particular sale, but through the power of community and connection and word getting out, and I think we saw that with we've been fortunate to be partnered with Josh Allen.
Let's go Bills.
The Bills Mafia community supporting when Josh's grandmother passed, the Patricia Allen Fund, and all that community donating $17. A lot of $17 donations in his honor, and then we were able to do a Josh Allen Mafia ball for the Oshai Foundation Children's Hospital in Patricia Allen's honor. So it was just really cool, and that that's Josh and his influence on the community, and how great he was playing, and just the fact that people love him and enjoy playing the golf ball. So
it's a win-win-win-win.
Yeah, it's cool to see that happen. So I just gotta make sure my game's sharp for our match tonight. So I'm trying to.
We're about 4 hours out, so Well, and it's funny, let's have a little fun. Well, we're having a ton of fun, but there was a really, it's kind of a silly reason too, because it's just happened, and it goes back to just service to others. There's two filters of which I know we both live our lives that I think our audience would enjoy hearing from and hopefully be congruent with, and it's ask yourself every day: are you serving yourself and serving others? That's filter one. And the second thing is, are you doing the right thing for yourself and the right thing for others? They're kind of hand in hand. Because if you're serving yourself, you're doing the right thing inherently. So I guess you could boil it to one.
Sure.
Right? So it's funny. These golf balls in front here are actually from some of my stock. Because I am an ambassador and influencer for the company, and I do some work with you guys, and it's awesome. But what's funny is, the giving, the effect that giving can have that you just don't maybe realize sometimes, because we got a lot going on. It goes back to the attention economy. So I made a joke, right? I made a joke, and I won't name names of brands, but I was going to go get some golf balls at a local course. And instead I ended up using gift cards to then get products and some apparel to then give to actually some of our military vets that are in the program. So I told you, I asked you would you get upset, and you're like, never, dude, go get the golf balls. But what's cool is, as a result of that, I did not actually end up getting those golf balls, a different brand than OnCore. And as a result, you're hooking me up because we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
We serve one another. It's
Right.
symbiotic. It's bilateral.
Right.
So that was like the sillier reason why I asked, but I'm glad you called it the story of Hope, PJ Hope, Josh Allen with O'Shea. And again, there are countless other use cases. Countless. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I think, it's, as an ambassador and what you've done for OnCore, helping out with connections in the community, with investors, with, corporate logo sales. I think it's a gift, and not everyone has it. And for you to be able to do that and just weave it into your own life and your day to day is really beneficial to companies. And that's why I think you're seeing such success with the consulting business. And because there are so many great resources in Buffalo and companies, but people don't necessarily know about them, particularly after the last year where we were all quarantined and siloed off.
Right.
So now more than ever, we need to be re-engaged and learn what, about these new billion-dollar companies and startups and people doing cool things in the community. So I think there's going to be, a much bigger need for what you do because
I'll Venmo you the $10 for the kind. No, I'm kidding. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Got it.
Okay, so we're talking about, I'm going to jump back quickly to service to others. Service to yourself first,
Right.
and service to others following. And that sounds like, well, wait a minute, isn't that selfish? No, it's not. And I think you know where I'm going with this, but what I wanted to dial in was talking about self-care, something that we're both passionate about. Because in order to be the best you can be for those that are in your inner orbits, outer orbits, community, business, the list goes on and on, what do you got to do? Serve yourself first.
Sure.
So you talked about the marathon. Maybe we can highlight that a little bit. And then generally, I know you got a couple things on the wrist, and we talked about it. I'm all, as you like to say, I'm strapped up, hard strap, whatever, for fitness and stuff. But I'd love to hear more of your thoughts on that general category.
Yeah, I think it's becoming more and more talked about, mental health, mental struggles, particularly in sports. It seems a lot of the athletes are coming out. And I think it was Osaka, on the female tennis player who refused to do some interviews at the French Open, and she kind of got, she got some pushback, and then it was revealed she was struggling, with some mental issues, and so I think we focus a lot on physically making sure we're taking care of our bodies, eating healthy, putting good fuel in inside of us to try to operate at a high level. Not that we're to reduce the human body to a machine, but I think about it like a car too. You got to service your car and make sure you've got your oil and everything to maintain it at a high level. And it's the same with your body. And so I just try to read, stay on top of trends and nutrition and health and mindfulness and meditation, and just try to be well-rounded. So there's the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and just making sure that holistically you're taking care of yourself on all those different levels.
Yeah, you answered my question. I was going to ask some of the things that you do, which we've talked about, collaborated on. As how we got the marathon,
right.
Whatever. It was all different levels of running that we did as a team. At the end of the day, whether it was 26.2 or 1.2, the point was to raise money and awareness around PGA Reach, which again, more color to that story. PGA Reach is 3 pillars. We talked about PGA Hope, again, something that OnCore is doing great work with, that I'm trying to do everything I can to support. But also then you got people of diversity through PGA Works, and then you got the Junior League, which is for youth, right?
Yep.
So again, going back to just being able to work on that physical fitness, and not a lot of times, it's pretty much every time. How do you work on your mental fitness? Through your body, right? There's other ways, but
they're synergistic. Yep.
But to say that I'm going to go run 26.2 miles over the course of anywhere from 3, 4, 5 hours, you got to have mental fitness.
Yep.
You got to have it. So do you care to ruminate any further on how it was you got ready for because again, there's a lot of how-tos here, and this one now is important because again, it's like if you want to be a major player in your community, how can you take care of yourself even further to be the best you can?
Well, I think it's,
on top.
Surrounding yourself with good people.
Beautiful.
And, you definitely helped me out a lot with the training for the marathon.
Vice versa.
And you had run one previously. So being able to, reach out to you with questions. Hey, what do you suggest for running in rain?
I remember that.
What kind of shoes, or, you start to get deeper into your stride and how many steps per minute are you taking. You start to learn all these different things about running, whatever it is you pursue. So I think just, in terms of mental health overall, just, being surrounded by good people who can help, be uplifting, positive.
Juiced.
And just staying healthy is important, right? I mean, it's key to everything. So having that race to motivate you when it's February and it's, ice and snow, and maybe you're not, if you didn't have that upcoming race and PGA Hope and the charitable component really kind of motivating you, probably would have been harder to get out of bed or get, pound the pavement. So I think both of us like having that external motivation, the excitement around the race, but also, the charitable component. It's
100%.
Just help adds fuel to the fire. So I think we had a great time. We're already brainstorming on the duathlon, doing some biking,
climbing
running
mountains.
Climbing mountains. Yeah. But, and we both big fan of David Goggins.
Shout out to DG, Buffalo native.
And just, Buffalo native, just being inspired by the people around us and the accomplishments that they've done. And it makes, it can make you feel small sometimes, but it's exciting too to see what humans are capable of. And so I think that's something we both love, connecting with people who've been there, done that, done amazing things, and trying to learn how they did it, ask questions, be curious, and then, just work on
grit and gratitude.
Mind over miles.
Mind over miles. That's for sure. And mind over matter. It's a real concept. It's a real concept. It really is. And I mentioned grit and gratitude. Shout out to the gentleman who I was with prior to this, with Raj Suchak, who, additive to your point, Steve, we talked about this at lunch just across town before I came here, was in order to, he quoted Carl Jung. I believe I forget where exactly he hails from, but a philosopher. 3 things to get true greatness, to find true greatness, achieve it, attain it. And it starts with first specific skill. 2 is accountability. And 3 is leverage. That's pretty good recall, Raj. So I hope you're watching, baby. Let's go. Because he told me about this and it was fantastic. And so what you just talked about, what you just opened up, ruminated on for our audience, our listeners, that's what this is all about. Sure, we're doing a little back massage, exciting. We got cool things going. You're doing great things. But at the end of the day, this is about who's listening and what they can pull from this. And hopefully, even if it's just one person watching this,
right,
that then takes something you said or I said or both and puts it in their life and they start to see an upward trend towards the right of the graph.
Right.
That's all we can ever hope for. So those 3 pieces. So segueing kind of to the finish here. I'm going to start with kind of like an operational kind of just perfunctory thing with where can we find you? How can we get involved? Support.
Sure.
Right.
So in terms of OnCore, the business, OnCoreGolf.com, and it's OnCore
in the show notes.
OnCore with an O, ONCORE golf.com. Emails steve@OnCoreGolf.com.
Put his email out there.
STEVE@OnCoreGolf.com. I'll save the cell phone for a later date. But,
defer. I mean,
I would say through the email, through the company website, great way to check out what we're doing at OnCore and connect with me. For those that are interested.
Good stuff. And I just prompted one thought. I'll be a little cryptic in case it's not public yet, but did you want to talk about what you told me about in September? Or is that not yet formulated? Not to be
September
cryptic.
11th. Yes.
Oh, it is.
September 11th. We've got.
Listen to this, y'all.
We've got a cool gentleman, Clayton Phillips, coming through Buffalo, and he's on. Clayton's on a tour across the United States, 50 rounds of golf in 50 days in 50 states.
Oh my Lord! Wow.
And he happens to be, this was kind of before we connected with him, coming through Buffalo on September 11th. And of course, historical day and day of remembrance.
Yeah.
And so we're going to tie in Nick Martone, and honor his service, Marine veteran, and of course Clayton on his historic, journey across the U.S. So he's starting out in about a month from now, and I think Hawaii starts out. Then he flies to Alaska, and then kind of does the north part of the country, and then loops down along the East Coast, down south, and then back around. I was trying to think how he could hit
It's
all
the
the
Iron
states.
Cowboy stuff.
Yeah,
Iron Cowboy-esque. Netflix.
And he's raising money for
We gotta donate.
clean water. So he's
Life
retired.
Fuel.
All the money is going to two charities. But if you Google Clayton Phillips and 50 rounds in 50 days in 50 states, it'll pull up his website, and the charities are there. But they focus on bringing clean water to developing countries who oftentimes, something we take for granted, just being able to pull clean water out of a tap. There's still millions of people around the world who can't do that, or who get sick from the water they're drinking, which leads to missing school, missing work, and it's just something that is terrible. But he's working, he's working to address that. He's covering all his own golf and his travel, and none of the money donating is going to his journey. It's all going to the charities.
100%.
Yeah.
I've got a guy for you.
At Glen Oak too with Steve Barkowski.
That's where we're gonna play?
We're gonna play Glen Oak with Steve Barkowski.
I saw the email yesterday, dude. I told you lit me up
Steve,
a bit.
Steve was gracious.
Am I
to
dialed in
host
on that
us.
too? Hopefully, can I be a part of this?
Oh, of course. Yeah, you're on the invite.
Let's go. I didn't even know. I saw the email and I was so juiced. And again, not to be back massaging, but again, just the community work and just to tie this all together. And I'm sorry if I missed it because I'm so locked in. Did you reach out to him? Did you reach out to him, or did he reach out to you? How'd it work? 'Cause it just goes back to the beginning of like Valentino, Chuck, all these people that we just reach out to, that you and me.
I honestly think Clayton reached out and just said, "Hey, here's what I'm doing." But I don't think he was getting much attention from some of the bigger golf companies.
So he did it to you though, but so the point is he reached out to you.
We brought it, internally, and
all in.
It's a cool story, right? And
Unbelievable.
he hasn't started the journey yet, but he's gotten some local interviews in San Diego on local news, and he's going to be playing the ball, the Vero X1, and
sorry,
yeah. So
I'm just so juiced
we
by
can,
this. He's playing the Vero.
Yeah. So he's gonna take enough stock to basically get him to Buffalo, and then we're gonna refuel him when he comes to Buffalo with some more balls for the rest of his journey. So.
Oh my God. I didn't even know any of this. And I hope they don't.
I love how excited you get.
I just hope that I literally just want to
yeah.
jump Spider-Man this wall and do a backflip off of it. We're coming up on time, but if anyone thinks this is fake, then in terms of me, my reaction, let's talk. But no, wow.
You fooled me if it was.
No, I'm not a good actor. I'm a bad BS artist. Okay, there's one thing I want to finish on, but I want to just say I do have a connection for you. A doctor, his PhD is in water science, like water, clean energy stuff. He's out of Niagara Falls on a track. Dr. Michael Gallisdorfer. Let's go, doctor. Let's go. I call him Doc.
Cool.
Unbelievable. That'll be a great congruent, symbiotic, synergistic one. Okay, to finish, let me just put my gratitude out to Video Creator Network one more time, as I always do. Grateful to you, Steve. Grateful to Dig Buffalo. Grateful to our community. Grateful to everyone. Just gratitude in spades. So thanks again, Neil and team. What keeps you going, brother? That's how I'm finishing. This is season 2 right now. I'm in season 2 of Power Osmosis. What keeps you going? And it doesn't have to be an inclusive answer. It could be one thing that's top of mind. I'm sure there are several things, but give me an understanding of what keeps you going through life. Keep grinding, keep moving.
I think you keep me going. Yeah. Your passion, and that's
the shirt says it.
Right.
Intentional.
Yeah.
You're passionate
that's
too, though.
serious. I think, being in a startups, it's tough. There's incredible highs and incredible lows, and
you're here.
So I think just there's a lot of internal motivation, just
The best kind.
wanting to make OnCore a success. There's a lot of people who've taken a lot of financial risks and really put a lot of belief in our ability to make it a success. So, just trying to fight every day to make sure, we're doing the right things and growing the company. Buffalo has always been so welcoming to me and just curious about, I think, people moving here and, why Buffalo, and just opened up their arms to me. So there's definitely a lot of, wanting to give back and do well by the community for how I was welcomed. And yeah, just
That's a great answer.
keep golfing, right? Keep playing.
Keep growing, keep going, and keep golfing. Keep golfing, keep growing, keep going.
Yep.
Beautifully said. And Steve has to jump. He has to go do an interview with one of the men, one of the individuals, and because we're up on time.
And thanks for having me.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
being here, man. You're the best.
Yes.
Thanks,
Love you, brother.
Love you, man.
Yep.
Hey, thank you. And again, thanks for watching. As always, keep
Yes.
going, whatever it is that you're doing. We'll see you on the next segment.
Thank you.
Let's go.